good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you're all doing well. So we're here to talk about the monster that is Megan Boswell. Megan Boswell was just 19 years old when her little 15-month-old daughter went missing. Except she wasn't missing, she'd been murdered. That was in December of 2019. And we are just about on the eve of Megan Boswell's trial. It's been a long time coming, over 5 years since Megan was arrested. And on Monday, we got jury selection starting on a Monday in Sullivan County in Tennessee. So what I'm going to do over 2 live streams is basically prepare for the trial. All right, because this is going to be, it's going to be gruesome. Today, I'm just going to overview the case for anybody who either has never heard of this case before or has forgotten a bunch of details, given that, you know, it's just so long ago that this was all in the news. Timeline and just the basics of what happened. And then tomorrow, I'll give you fair warning that tomorrow's is going to be gruesome. Because in September of 2022, there was a hearing in which a medical examiner gave testimony. The hearing was actually about what photos relating to the death of Evelyn were going to be allowed in trial. And as part of that hearing, a medical examiner went through just the most gruesome of details of the way Evelyn died. So we're going to do that tomorrow. So I absolutely understand if you don't want to hear those kinds of details about the death of a little baby. But it's all going to be coming up at trial. There's going to be, you know, there's not going to be a dry eye in the house in Sullivan County when the details of Evelyn's death are explained. And I'm sure there's a lot more that we don't know. Let's put it that way. So, all right, I'm going to say a couple of hellos, give people a chance to come in. So there's not going to be any gruesome details today, but tomorrow, fair warning. It's just, look, I watched that hearing and I honestly did not expect to hear what I heard that day. And I do have, it's over on Michelle Walks, I do have the medical examiner's testimony over on Michelle Walks. It's September 2022. So you got to go back a fair way in the old videos. It's really bad audio as well, but I tried to improve the audio a little, made it a little bit louder, but it's still bad. All right, let's see who's in the house here. We've got We Are Dust. We've got Only Grands. Yeah, you're going to catch a live. We've got Nicola. We've got Mary. Angie, baby. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Who else have we got here? Yes, she is. Absolutely. Totally horrendous. You forget your question. Well, maybe at some point you'll remember it. Hello, Only Grands. Oh dear, I used to live very close to her. Yeah, she's sickening. And the reason, look, if you like trial testimony that is completely and totally unbiased, I'm probably not the best person to watch the trial with, because I'm telling you now, I am totally biased. I believe she did it. I believe all the lying that she did, which we're going to get into in short order here, because that's all part of the timeline. Right? If she had nothing to do with her daughter's disappearance, she wouldn't have lied her tits off once it became known that Evelyn was missing. There's absolutely no reason to lie if you're telling the truth, if you've got nothing to lie about. So no, she did it. She did it. I'm hoping that this trial is just a formality and that the jury sees that very clearly, because we don't want this to be another Cassie Anthony, another monster going free. We don't want that. We don't want that. Hello, CW. We've got Mimi. We've got, what else have we got in the house here? Petunia. Roll on spring. Yeah, roll on spring. I'm looking forward to spring. Doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be less mud, though. We had a very wet and rainy spring last year, I seem to remember. Hello, M. Osland. Hello, Theo, Yvonne, Andrew. Can I ask a question? You can try. You can ask a question if you want. Hello, Blessed, Crystal, Jill, Thunderhorse, Mandy, Mama. All right, I'm going to stop now. All right, so this is Megan, just 19 years old in 2020 when she was arrested. And then we've got a little baby Evelyn, who was just 15 months old when she went missing. Except she wasn't missing, because this monster knew where she was all along. The location we are going to here is Tennessee. Let me just make this bigger. Is Tennessee, northeast Tennessee, not too far away actually from Summer Wells. This is Kingsport. It's probably about 40 minutes from Summer Wells house. So this is Bluntville and Muddy Creek Road. This is where Tommy Boswell, Megan's dad, and Evelyn's grandpa had some land. And Megan was a little bit nomadic. She was like flitting about from here to there, but she was living on her dad's property. Her dad had a business, got some land. He had a house on this land, and that's where Megan was living. It's a little bit of like a broken family. There's Dad Tommy, there's Mother Angela, who is in and out of jail, and then there's a brother, an elder brother. I don't know if she's got any other siblings, but anyway, so a little, a broken family, not a family that is going to be possibly, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but it could be easy for somebody like Megan, who has murdered a child, to get away with it for a while. Because it was Tommy Boswell who reported Evelyn missing. It wasn't her mother, Megan. No. It was Grandpa Tommy who reported her missing because he hadn't seen her. He hadn't seen her since Thanksgiving in 2019. And he was concerned. He was concerned why he hadn't seen Evelyn, and he'd been asking, and I'm guessing that Megan was giving him lie after lie. I could imagine, because that's what she did to the media. She gave lie after lie after lie to the media, so why wouldn't she be giving lie after lie after lie to her own dad? And then eventually You know, Megan eventually admitted that Evelyn was dead, but she told a whole bunch of lies. And those lies have come back to bite her, because some of what she has been charged with, let me just get her rap sheet up here, Megan Boswell. Some of what she's been charged with is lying. He's lying. So, jury trial 2/3/25, 8:30 a.m. That's jury selection. So, I'm assuming that jury selection won't be streamed. And even if it is, I'm not going to stream jury selection. But whenever the trial starts proper, then I will stream it. Okay, charges. First-degree murder. She was initially charged with felony murder, like 2 charges of felony murder, just with like different theories connected to them. But in 2024, they changed it. In May of 2024, they changed it from felony murder to first-degree murder. And then aggravated child abuse, tampering with evidence, laws of false reports, abuse of a corpse, and a refusal or neglect to comply with death under suspicious circumstances rules. So the jury have got all of those things to consider. But I'm guessing if they find her guilty of first-degree murder, then these probably will just get subsumed, because it won't be relevant. Because I would guess that the sentence is going to be life without the possibility of parole. I haven't heard that there's death penalty connected to this case. There might be, since she's now first-degree murder. I haven't heard that there is a death penalty claim here. But anyway, it's a lot for the jury to think about. But I absolutely believe that the state can prove this case. I absolutely believe they can prove this case. And I would like to see a full bingo card of guilties all the way down. Here's hoping. Again, I am not going to be pretending to be neutral. I'm not. Some cases, I am absolutely neutral. Some cases, it's easy to be neutral, because I can either see both sides of the argument, or I'm not sure myself, or I don't really know that much about the case. So I start neutral. You know, the Tracy Nix case that I watched recently. I did a live stream about Tracy Nix a couple of weeks ago. I watched her trial completely knowing nothing, like as a jury member would, absolutely knowing nothing. So I was completely neutral all the way through the trial. The Colin Griffith trial that I'm watching at the moment, I'm neutral on that. Although I'm erring, now we've done day 3, we've got 3 days under our belt. I'm erring towards guilty, but I'm still waiting to the end, to say yeah. If I was a juror, I'd be voting guilty. I'm erring that way, but I'm neutral. I'm completely neutral. But in this case, I believe that there is evidence, plenty of it, to show that Megan Boswell is guilty of the murder of little baby Evelyn. She's another Leilani Simon. Yes, absolutely. She reminds me of Susan Smith as well. Like the smirking, like, she was like caught in the media. She was happy to be interviewed by the media with this silly smirk on her face. And I saw her interview and I thought, that's Susan Smith. That's the next generation of Susan Smiths. Susan Smith, the woman who she claimed that she'd been like carjacked or something. And actually what she'd done is she had driven her 2 sons, like little babies, to the edge of a lake and let the car roll into the lake. And they drowned. And then she was all over the media, caught in the media, oh, yeah, blah, 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 lying through her teeth. Exactly. She lied so many times. It's impossible to believe that somebody who was totally innocent could have lied that many times with a smirk on her face. Duper's delight. Yes, it absolutely is. Duper's delight. See, you saw it in Susan Smith. You saw it with this. I hope, like, the behaviour panel cover Megan Boswell. If they may have done. They may already have done. I'm not sure. All right. We're gonna let Vinnie do a little timeline here. So I'm only going to play a couple of minutes of this. This is Court TV. Vinnie Politan investigates from a couple of days ago, and he did a segment on Megan Boswell. Yeah, that's right. She said a black man carjacked her. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to let Vinnie go through the timeline just for a couple of minutes. He's got it down here, and just listen. Just listen to the nonsense, to the way this went, very quickly south for Megan Boswell.
Let's do this. There's a timeline because her story seems to change a little bit as well. February 18th, 2020, Evelyn Boswell reported missing, not seen since December of 2019. That's a problem, right? Megan tells investigators Evelyn is with her father, Ethan Perry. That's the...
Hold on, just let me make it. I'll put it back to normal because I know some of you don't like it.
Specific topic that we're talking about in this case, missing child. What's your emotional reaction to that?
Absolutely. Let's do this. There's a timeline because her story seems to change a little bit as well. February 18th, 2020, Evelyn Boswell reported missing, not seen since December of 2019. That's a problem, right? Megan tells investigators Evelyn is with her father, Ethan Perry. That's the young man who's in the military. February 19th, the next day, TBI issues an Amber Alert. February 21st, Megan tells reporters with WCYB she left Evelyn with someone while she went to work. 3 days later, Megan tells WJHL her mother left Evelyn with someone at a campground in Mendota. A campground. The next day, Megan tells investigators Evelyn is dead. She says she or her boyfriend rolled over her while sleeping. Megan is charged with false reporting and taken into custody. March 6th, Evelyn's remains are finally discovered on the family property on Muddy Creek Road. August 19th, she's indicted on 19 counts, including 2 counts of felony murder. And then in June of 2024, she's charged with first-degree premeditated murder. Janine Driver, when there's...
Yeah. So, I don't know whether she thought that the police weren't going to watch her on the media. You know, Tommy Boswell, right, bless him, like, said he was worried sick. He wasn't sleeping at night because he didn't know where his grandbaby was. And he couldn't get any sense nor anything out of Megan. He's estranged from his ex-wife, Angela. So he did the decent thing. He did the only thing that a grandpa could do. Is he called the cops. He called her in. So that was February 18th, 2020. We've had a whole pandemic since then. We've had a pandemic come and go since then. This is how long this case has been going on. Anyhow, police interview her and she says, oh, I dropped Evelyn off with her dad, Ethan. Well, actually, you know, they say, well, okay, where's Ethan? Let's speak to Ethan. So they tracked Ethan down. Ethan's in the military, and I think stationed in Louisiana. He hadn't seen Evelyn since she was a tiny baby. He joined the military when she was, I think Megan was still pregnant with Evelyn. Like, Ethan had absolutely no input into Evelyn's upbringing at all. Like, they weren't like a couple or anything like that. So officers were like, no. And like, he clearly has an alibi. Like, he's there stationed in a different state in the military. I think that's a decent alibi. So, then she does this interview with one media channel, and she says, I dropped her off with somebody while I went to work, and I haven't seen her since. You know, that's very reminiscent of Zanny the nanny, isn't it? You know, you could just hear Cassie coming out with something like that. You know, Zanny the nanny while she was working. Okay. And then she tells WJHL a couple of days later that she knows where Evelyn is, but she hasn't been able to say so. And she hasn't been able to push the issue in case they run with her. And she said this with a big grin on her face. Okay, all right then. We're going to believe that. Finally, you know, officers get sick of this. They start to, you know, properly interrogate her, realizing that she's lying. And then she admits that Evelyn is dead, but doesn't say where Evelyn's body is. They have to find Evelyn's body. It was actually Tommy Boswell who was helping cops, look for locations where, you know, where she might have put her. And they find her. And it's clear that Megan's version of events is untrue. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. I did promise that I wasn't going to do any gruesome details today. We'll run through this. Now, this is my video from September 24th, 2022. So this was, I think this was the day after the hearing, the horrible hearing. And like I said, I've put the medical examiner's testimony over on Michelle Walks. But I did this on this channel, just a short video on this channel. And again, this goes through the timeline, but it goes through a little bit more detail. So I'm going to play a few minutes of this. I'm reading through. I don't know what article this is, but I'm reading through one article here. So I'll let this play. This girl is evil. She is evil. She does look really young. She is really young. She was only 19. She was 17 when Evelyn was born. And she was 19 when all this went down. So Evelyn Boswell was reported missing by her grandfather, who told authorities he had not seen her for months and feared for her safety. On February 19th, 2020, an Amber Alert was issued for 15-month-old Evelyn, but it was already too late. Days later, her tiny body was found hidden in her grandfather's shed, accompanied by her toys, clothing, and diapers. Her mother, Megan Boswell, was only 17 when she gave birth. She's been charged with murder and a slew of other charges. Her trial has been postponed until February 2023. But yeah, this was meant to happen in 2023, 2 years ago. And that was already a postponement. But what happened was the original attorney quit. There was unreconcilable differences. And her attorney wanted to part ways. And the judge said no at first. He said, no, try and work it out. That, you know, this case has gone on long enough. I don't want any more delays. work it out, but they couldn't work it out. So the judge relented and they parted ways. So a new team had to be brought in, which delayed it by 2 whole years. Look, I'm not sure that they needed 2 whole years to get to grips with this case. But anyway, here we are. So we're almost at the eve of trial. All right, so let's be thankful at least we got there eventually. Yesterday was a hearing to set out some details, and in particular, Megan wanted a change of attorney, which was denied, but the graphic details came from forensic pathology. Sorry, I was muted. I'm going to skip this a little because I don't know if I go into any details. I want to leave it all till tomorrow. Definitely be out first. But from the beginning, here we go. All right, we'll go from here. Local and state law enforcement officers said they were frustrated by Megan Boswell, who spun a cat's cradle of conflicting stories that left them chasing dead ends and wasting valuable time. Every time we talk to her, her story changes. Every single time, said Sullivan County Sheriff Jeff Cassidy at a February 2020 press conference announcing that Megan Boswell had been arrested for allegedly lying to authorities. Her false statements have delayed and impeded law enforcement's investigation, he said. During the investigation, authorities said Megan falsely told detectives that Evelyn was with her biological father. She also said Evelyn was with her grandmother, who had run off with the toddler. In local television interviews, she said she knew who had Evelyn, but was afraid to say who that was. None of those conflicting accounts were true, the sheriff later said. The reason I didn't report it or anything was I knew the person who had her, and I didn't want them to run away with her, Boswell told a local station 2 days after Evelyn was reported missing. I'm just kind of worried, about where they are, what they're doing with her at this point in time. So it was Evelyn's grandfather who contacted the State Department of Children's Services, saying he had not laid eyes on the baby since Thanksgiving, the year before, so Thanksgiving 2019. Investigators would later learn a babysitter appeared to be the last person who saw Evelyn, and that was in early December. Tommy Boswell Sr. told the local station, I don't know what happened, but I'm the one who called DCS and got this started, he said. I ain't slept nights, I've cried like a baby, I just want my grandbaby to come home. No one else has been arrested or charged in connection with Evelyn's death. Megan had sole custody of the child, and she and Megan's father never married. The search for Evelyn would cross state lines, encompass several properties and a pond. Over 700 tips poured into the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation hotline. So many that state officials finally asked for people to stop reporting visions, psychic readings, and personal theories about Evelyn's location because they were overwhelming investigators and telephone operators. On March the 6th, 2 weeks and 2 days after the Amber Alert was issued, investigators found Evelyn's remains on the property owned by Tommy Boswell. Megan and other members of the Boswell family had lived on the rural acreage at varying points in time. Because of the intense attention surrounding Evelyn's case, a judge ordered all court documents to be sealed until yesterday. However, all right, until yesterday, and the horrific details that were laid out by the pathologist at the hearing. I'm going to listen to some of that tomorrow. All right, let's have a look at some of Megan's interviews, little media clips. Now, the local news channel, WJHL, are preparing for the trial. So if you followed the Summer Wells case, you'll be very familiar with the reporter Ansley Daniel, because she's the one that has interviewed Don Wells numerous times. She's the one that got the interview with Candice and Don, with Grandma Candy. She's the one that has really championed Summer's case. Well, she was the same for baby Evelyn. So it's Ansley Daniel that you'll see reporting here. She's going to be in the courtroom following the trial. And she interviewed Megan, I think it was either the 21st of February, something like that, and was just completely lied to. It was obvious. It was obvious. Anyway, this is a report by Ansley Daniel, and this is part one, but what these channels do, WJHL are famous for it. They split like something up in like 4 or 5 parts. So you've got to chase them down. So I'm just going to play this part one, and because it's interesting that we've got. What's going on here? It's interesting that we've got some like clips from her interviews, and dear me. Oh, she also lied. I think this might have been the day she was arrested, but she also lied to reporters that she couldn't do a polygraph because she was pregnant. She wasn't pregnant. And the sheriff just came out and said, listen, we don't even have a polygrapher here. We've not offered her a polygraph. We don't have a polygrapher here. So she's lying. We know she's lying. Crazy. All right, let's listen to some of this.
Little is known about the victim in this case. Then 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell. During the Amber Alert and search for Evelyn in 2020, I spoke with her mother, Megan Boswell, on what her daughter was like.
She's very sweet. She loves everybody.
This picture of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed toddler captured a separate public defender.
Dear me. Hold on. I was trying to get off the screen, and they ended up clicking out. Here we are. All right.
Case. Then 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell. During the Amber Alert and search for Evelyn in 2020, I spoke with her mother, Megan Boswell, on what her daughter was like.
She's very sweet. She loves everybody.
This picture of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed toddler captured the hearts of people across the region and beyond.
She's just a really good-hearted baby in general.
Evelyn was born on November 18th, 2018, to then-teens Megan Boswell and Ethan Perry.
I love her. I know she loves me. She's only been around him a couple times because when I was in the Army.
Like most toddlers, her mother told us Evelyn loved Baby Shark and had just started walking.
She started walking probably around like 10 months. She was a preemie when she was born. She's like a smaller baby, and she kind of had trouble like balancing her weight, but she finally got the hold of it. She's starting to say a lot of words.
However, watching Evelyn hit those milestones came to a halt in late 2019, the last time some of her family members saw her alive.
My granddaughter, she never did come back, and I just don't know what happened to her.
To understand this case and what to expect in court, we want to take you back to 2020, where it all started. On February 18th of that year, the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office says they received a referral from the Tennessee Department of Children's Services about a child that hadn't been seen by some family members in about 2 months. That child was Evelyn Boswell. The next day, just before 8 in the evening, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issued an Amber Alert for 15-month-old Evelyn.
We've had a child that's not been seen by the parents or certain family members in almost 2 months and was just reported this week. Evelyn was last seen in December. As you all know, these cases are already time sensitive, and we urge anyone with any information to come forward.
On February 21st, several rewards were announced for information that would help the investigation into the toddler's disappearance. More details were also given out about what folks should look out for in regards to the Amber Alert. Then on the 24th, Megan Boswell, Evelyn's mother, spoke with me for a News Channel 11 report.
Maybe they won't find her tonight, or maybe they don't find her tomorrow. Maybe it's weeks from now before they find her.
On the 25th, Megan Boswell was arrested after police say that she gave false reports during the course of the investigation and search for her daughter. More than a week passes as the search continues. That includes a sweep of a North Carolina pond near a property owned by a family member connected to the case, and the search of a property in Sullivan County where investigators looked into recently dug up ground there. Then, on March the 6th, the search for Evelyn Boswell ended when her remains were found on a property on Muddy Creek Road in Sullivan County, owned by Megan Boswell's father, the man who initially called DCS about her disappearance. It would be several more months after that before Megan Boswell would be charged with multiple counts of felony murder of Evelyn. So let's take a closer look into the life of the woman who now faces 20 charges linked to the case.
Legally, my first name is Megan. I go by Maggie. Does that matter?
This is video from the only...
I mean, does that look like somebody who has got a missing child? Or does that look like somebody who is, enjoying this little bit of, 15 minutes of fame? What do you think? Loving it. Loving it. All she needed to say was, I left her with Zanny the nanny. And, our fears would have been realised at that point.
The interview News Channel 11 has with then 18-year-old Megan Boswell on February 24th, 2020, about a week after her daughter Evelyn was reported missing.
Bring her back. I just want her back. That's all I want. I've been so long without her, and I know a lot of people are like, why didn't you report it missing earlier? Because my mom threatened me, and I just want her back.
Oh dear. Yeah, okay. When you go from smiling to you kind of know it's a lie. I'm sorry. So it's at this point when she says it's her mother, because at first she said, I can't say who it is. I know who she's with. And then it was blame it all on her mother. So they went and found the vehicle that she said they were going to be in, and they didn't have her either. Oh, okay. Well, Megan's clearly lying. Let's arrest her. That's what happened. That's how it went down.
That's all I can think about is how much I just want her back.
During the search for her daughter, there were a number of rumors circulating about Boswell, and we gave her the floor to address them. One being the multiple social media accounts she had and was active on.
I break phones a lot and I forget the password. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really bad about remembering passwords. Now I have them all set to one, but up until that point, I just couldn't remember the password to them.
The other...
Is that even something that you'd be talking about or thinking about if your child was genuinely missing? I don't think so.
Was about her family and their lifestyle.
Gypsies are not a cult. They've been asking people if there's like a gypsy ringleader in
She's loving it. Look at her. This is the reason why I cannot be neutral about Megan Boswell. I'm sorry. She is guilty. Look, constitutionally, I understand. She is innocent till proven guilty in a court of law by a jury of her peers. But factually, this woman is guilty.
I've never heard of referred to as ringleader.
None of that.
Those who know Boswell best, like her mother and father, have declined to speak to us about her. Just 3 weeks after Evelyn had been found in 2020, her first attorney appointed to the case, Brad Sproles, said this about the now 23-year-old.
She's an intelligent young woman. We've had many discussions that she contributes, and she is thinking rationally about her situation and of this case, and contributes and helps in her defense.
Her current attorney, Gene Scott, hasn't gotten into the ins and outs of his relationship with his client, but wants people to hold a judgment on the young mother until they see the evidence.
Once this case is tried, we'll prove her innocence. I have no doubt that girl is innocent.
Well, I'm sorry. I forget his name. I'm sorry. No, I don't believe that your client is innocent, but prove me wrong. I mean, look, I know that the defense doesn't have to prove anybody. The defense don't have the burden of proof, right? The state have got to prove their case. If the state really hash up and they can't prove their case and Megan walks, that's tragic. Absolutely tragic. But I don't think the evidence is going to show any shadow of a doubt about his client's guilt. I don't. But we've not got long to wait now. Not got long to wait. Yeah, prove her innocence. Go ahead and try. It's not for them to prove her innocence. You know, it's for the state to prove her guilt. But if he wants to put on a case to prove her innocence, then I'm all ears. I'm like, it's his choice. He can do if he wants. If they want to put on a case to try to prove that someone else is responsible, are they going to use, you know, a third-party guilt defence? Hopefully, well, they're entitled to. If they've got that evidence, hopefully they're allowed to put that on. You know, I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear how Evelyn Boswell ended up in a trash can. But we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Since her initial arrest back in 2020, Megan Boswell's case has come up in court dozens of times, sometimes in hearings that last less than a minute and others by video call during the COVID era. At times, her case breaks what could be considered typical. These are the watershed moments, though, of her court appearances. Starting on March 9th of 2020, the records surrounding her case are sealed by a court order and remain sealed to this day. Under that seal, there is no available information about what the documents are or what information they may contain. Then in August of 2020, months after the death of Evelyn Boswell, Megan is charged with 2 counts of felony murder. 1 count linked to aggravated child abuse and the other connected to aggravated child neglect. Back in January of 2021, prosecutors working the case explain why they won't be seeking the death penalty.
Prior decision by the Tennessee.
Oh, there's my answer. There's my answer. Oh, dear. Like I said at the beginning, oh, no, I've heard anything about the death penalty relating to this case. And there you go. Yeah, I've got a brain like a sieve. So they're not seeking the death penalty. All right, so let's listen. Barry Strobus, the district attorney.
The Supreme Court that says if you have an 18-year-old defendant without a record and only one aggravating factor, then it's disproportionate and it's not a valid death penalty in that case. That's what they decided.
Boswell.
Okay. So because she was only 18 when the crime would have happened, then, and she's no prior record, and only one aggravating factor. Look, it's a pretty big aggravating factor. Like the intentional murder of your baby, that's pretty aggravating. As aggravating factors go, I think that's pretty aggravating. And lying through your teeth about it for months, I think that's also aggravating. Anyhow, death penalty's off the table. So we're looking at life without the possibility of parole.
Initial trial date was set for September of 2022, but issues with evidence processing from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and conflict with her first court-appointed attorney, Brad Sproles, led to the first of several trial delays. Boswell would eventually switch from Sproles to a separate public defender. That's her current attorney, Gene Scott. That was back in October of 2022. Sproles spoke with News Channel 11 at the time about leaving the case.
When an attorney gets to the point where they can't be effective, it's our responsibility to bring that to the court's attention.
In June of 2024, Boswell was served with a new indictment charging her with first-degree murder. This new charge alleges that Evelyn's death was premeditated and intentional. The new count is in addition to her 2 previous felony murder charges. Questionnaires for potential jurors were finalized late last year, and jury selection for the trial is expected to begin on Monday. That's when the entire community will wait to see Boswell's fate that's hung in the balance for half a decade. Ahead in this News Channel 11 special report, real expectations from precedent-setting attorneys. I speak with experts to break down what to expect when this trial begins.
All right, so those are the other parts. I think there's 4 parts to it. It comes to about like half an hour in total. But yeah, it's interesting. So WJHL.com are streaming it, but I'm hoping that somebody like Court TV are going to stream it, or Law and Crime Network are going to stream it. Because when you stream a live stream off a website, it's notoriously bad. So I'm hoping that, you know, one of the bigger networks is going to pick up on it and stream it. Because they've got all the technological know-how to keep it, you know, to keep the feed as stable as possible. Although in the Colin Griffiths case yesterday, they kept dropping the feed for like no apparent reason. It just kept dropping out. It was weird. That was on Law and Crime Network. So anyhow, there you go. So that's a snapshot, like a whistle-stop tour through the last 5 years of Megan Boswell. And all the while, she has been sat in jail, all the while, in Sullivan County Jail. And she seems quite happy there, quite honestly. She's, you know, she's got her feet under the table. She's got used to the, you know, probably the meals and what have you. So I don't think it's going to be an extra special hardship for her to spend her entire life behind bars, because that's absolutely what she deserves. When was she last seen? Her grandpa, Tommy, saw her Thanksgiving of 2019. But there was a babysitter who reports seeing her at the beginning of December. So she was probably killed at the beginning of December 2019. Has she been offered a plea? I don't know, honestly. I don't know. She's in solitary confinement. Good for her. Yeah, Tommy Boswell. But look, you know, people say that it's due to the fact that she's been like very young. She comes from a problematic home, like her parents divorced. Look, I'm sorry. Loads of people have kids in their teenage years. Loads of people come from broken homes. If she genuinely couldn't cope, if she genuinely did not want Evelyn, then turn her over to child services. Take her to child services and drop her off. Honestly, there's no shame in that. You know, I just wish that more people would do it rather than, you know, end up abusing their child or, in worst case scenario, murdering their child. I wish they'd just drop them off. And, you know, there's so many people who want to adopt children. There's more people, certainly in this country, who want to adopt than there are kids to adopt. And it's just nobody should be in a position where they are that desperate that they end up killing their kid. Nobody should be in that position. But honestly, the way that Evelyn was found, the way that she died, to me, is an act of sadism. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow. All right. So if you want to join me watching this trial, then I am going to be streaming it. Like I said, I hope that I don't have to stream it off a website, wjhl.com, because it's going to be problematic. I can just see it coming. It's going to be problematic. But it won't be starting Monday because it's jury selection. So I don't know how long jury selection is going to take in this case. Might take a day, might take 2 days, might take 3 days. I don't know. But as soon as we got the trial starting proper with opening statements, then I will be streaming it on this channel. So if you want to join me, I know there's a whole bunch of people who are going to be streaming it. But if you want to join me, then we are going to be here every day that the trial is on, and we're going to go gavel to gavel. And we are hoping for a guilty verdict. If you want to, you know, watch a trial on a absolutely neutral platform, then have at it. You're not gonna get neutral comments from me. It'll be like watching Leilani Simon all over again. It really will. This is another Leilani Simon, you know, absolutely tragic, you know, and it's just kind of sit here thinking, dear me, is this what humanity's come down to? Is it really? Is it really? At the moment, you're getting menopause support ads. Do you know what? I don't think I've ever had a menopause support ad. Mind you, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't see ads on YouTube. I see some weird ads on Facebook sometimes. All right, going to keep this one short so it's easy to listen to on the replay. And yeah, join me tomorrow. Trigger warning, it's going to be a bad one. It's going to be, it's grim. It's grim. If you don't know the circumstances in which Evelyn Boswell died, it's absolutely grim. If you know, you know, and you know it's horrible. But if you're going to watch the trial, then that's what we're going to be hearing. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. All right, so thank you for joining me. Thanks as always to the mods. I don't think I had any donations, but that's fine. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.